Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this video on the Zenward channel. So today we're going to talk about the experience of becoming Bhagwan. Okay, what is Bhagwan? Okay, so the experience of becoming Bhagwan, when I went through that experience, okay, of realizing um, that I was a Bhagwan, okay, and I came from the Canadian culture. Canadian culture, I didn't know anything about, I didn't even know anything about this term, this word, what it meant, or anything about that, look at it from that perspective, from a Canadian that was brought up in a Catholic background, right? So it was very interesting for me, and I was in very high levels of practice at that time. I had already gotten enlightened, okay, after having dedicated myself to the practice of becoming a Buddha, okay, achieved that, became enlightened, and realized that I was that avatar, and realized that I was a Bhagwan. Okay, so what happened with Bhagwan is during many of my experiences, okay, I had basically, and when you're in higher levels of sadhana, you'll realize that, there's some things you can do, such as, for example, bring things to you, so things to advance you on your journey, right? Things to understand and progress as you progress in your understanding of your journey and your practice, right? As you practice. So some of the things you can do is bring things to you, and then basically you move around and you find these things. For example, at stores around where you are, right? Places where you're going to go, stores. And you can basically get these items. Okay, so basically there was different items, that I would get at different stores, and which were part of my story. Okay, some including items that I ensured I would recognize because I had modified their manufacture when I was at the outside of body, if you want to see, basically all pervading in the system and able to modify things at that level of function. Okay, so basically what happened is I collected bags, okay, from these different places, right, that were part of my journey and my story, okay. And basically one of the experiences of becoming the Bhagwan is through practice. I knew that knowing what the next step of my practice was, the practice led to me taking these bags, basically, right, and putting them over my head on the balcony of my place, right, and ripping through these bags, and that experience is the experience of the Bhagwan, right. And then I didn't know at that time, the connection between English and other languages, all the languages connecting together with sounds, right? So, for example, Bhagwan, it's spelled with an H, right? But in English, bag one, so one of the bag, okay? So basically ripping apart through the different layers of bags, through the different layers of reality, full sight, right? Bhagwan, right? All pervading, full sight, to rip through the layers that are blinding the sight, right? Through all those layers and those concealments. So that was the experience of the Bhagwan. What does the Bhagwan also stand for? The Bhagwan also stands for the one who carries the bag, right? In my term, also known as the Rutabaga, okay? The one who is the gardener in the garden, right? Who has his bag, right? The one of the bag, right? And as he gardens the garden of creation, right? Cuts the problems at the root, cuts out the bad things at the root, right? And puts them into the bag, right? The bag one. So the one who basically bags things, right? But you also have the idea that the one who has the bag with all the tricks inside the bag, right? Also the one who is the light, right? The light that brings the light of knowledge, right? Who has all the tricks to shake you out of your, well, I don't want to sound too pessimistic, but ignorance. Okay, so let's sound positive and say ignorance moving towards less ignorance. How does that sound? No, but kidding aside, okay. So these are the experiences of Bhagwan, okay, and basically, so the experience of understanding too. So through that practice led me to different places, right, including a local Sivan temple in Ottawa, where I saw for the first time that word Bhagwan, right? So I had a very interesting experience with the priest there, whose name was Vishwanathan, and I told him, I was looking at a Murti of Kal Bhairav and of Sri Surya Bhagwan, and I said, "That's me, Kal Bhairav. That's me. But I'm also this Bhagwan." And yeah, and obviously he gave me quite a look, right? As can be expected. So the experience of a Bhagwan and when you're a Bhagwan, when you're the Bhagwan, understanding and learning to understand and realize that you are that, a Bhagwan, and how that falls into place, and that how that becomes one of your names, or one of the ways of calling you, one of your titles, if you want to see it that way, a part of who you are. Right? So you basically, if it's a part of who you are and it becomes an important part of who you are, you have to understand that part of you, of yourself, right, as a Bhagwan. So there was quite a series of long events of practice that led to that culmination with the bags and ripping through and all that. So all the developments and discovery that came before that, and the practice and the sadhana before that, right? As I kept practicing sadhana even after my enlightenment, right? And that led to many different experiences, right? Because during my enlightenment, I came out of my enlightenment, my first thing I said, right, was, whoa. And then the second thing is, I'm Shiva. And then the third thing I thought was Devi, right? Thinking about Devi, about Parvati. And actually, the name I use is Parvati. So I'm Shiva, Parvati, right? And that was amazing, right? So that was a heck of an experience, if you want to call it that way. But after that, I didn't stop my practice. I kept my practice, and then I manifested my enlightenment into creation, right? So basically, that's all the different experiences through practice and manifesting your practice and your sadhana after enlightenment, and basically realizing who you are, and then basically manifesting the arrival of the person that you are into creation. Okay? So a little bit more about Bhagwan, what a Bhagwan stands for. One of the bag, okay? The one who carries the bag, or the one who has pierced through the bags that cover the vision in that way as well, and who has all the tricks within his bags. Okay, and also the one who bags at the root, right? The Bhagwan. So the explanation for the word Bhagwan, one of the bag. Thanks for listening.